Dalton Keane sat at the poker table in the smoky saloon, his weathered hands gripping a winning hand, aces over kings. He'd come to win cattle, land, anything to save his failing ranch after 3 years of drought had decimated his herd. At 45, time was slipping away, and his dreams of a lasting legacy were fading. The saloon was quiet, save for the crackle of the fireplace. 5 men sat around a worn wooden table, their eyes shifting between cards and stakes. Dalton should have been celebrating, but Joaquin Herrera, a Mexican trader, pushed forward a piece of paper instead of coins. "I got nothing left but this," Joaquin whispered, voice trembling. "My niece. She works hard, cooks, cleans. Worth more than any cattle." Dalton's throat tightened. He'd come for breeding stock, not this. The paper wasn't a deed to land, it was for a human being. The other players shifted uncomfortably, chairs creaking. Murphy, the saloon owner, drummed his fingers, impatient. "I don't want no girl," Dalton said, pushing the paper back. "Keep your family." Joaquin's hands shook. "Please, senor. I owe dangerous men. They come tomorrow. If I can't pay," his voice trailed off, but the threat hung heavy. The saloon door creaked open. A young woman stepped inside, her dark hair tied back, her simple dress dusted from travel. This was Esperanza. Her brown eyes met Dalton's, not with fear but with a fire that reminded him of wild horses, poised to run or fight. She moved with purpose, stopping beside Joaquin. "Uncle," she said in careful English, "you don't need to do this." Joaquin's eyes glistened. "Mija, there's no other way. These men will hurt us both." Dalton studied her. Esperanza wasn't pleading, she was calculating, her gaze assessing him like a seasoned gambler reading an opponent. There was intelligence there, and something deeper he couldn't name. "Take the bet or fold, Keane," Murphy growled. "We ain't got all night." Dalton glanced at his cards, then at Esperanza. He'd come to save his ranch, not to take on a stranger's life. His empty house, his lonely life, flashed through his mind. No wife, no children, no legacy. But her steady gaze made him pause. She was judging his character, and her verdict would shape more than this moment. "What exactly are you asking me to do with her?" Dalton asked quietly. Joaquin leaned forward, desperate. "She's a good worker, senor. She'll help on your ranch, cook, tend animals. Strong, not like girls who complain." Dalton felt every eye in the room. The other players watched, some amused, others uneasy. "I run cattle, not a boarding house," he said firmly. "This ain't proper." "Then find her a husband," Joaquin pressed. "She's 17, old enough to marry. Just keep her safe until then." Esperanza stepped closer. "I can speak for myself, uncle." She faced Dalton, composed. "Senor, I know this isn't what you wanted to win, but my uncle's right about the dangerous men. They'll come tomorrow." Dalton studied her. She wasn't begging, she was laying out facts, letting him choose. "These men your uncle owes, what's the debt?" Joaquin's shoulders sagged. "Gambling debts, and other things. I borrowed to help families cross the border. The families didn't make it. The money's gone, but the debt remains." $300, Joaquin whispered. The room fell silent. $300 was a fortune, enough for a horse, a season's seed, or 2 years' wages. Dalton looked at Esperanza. Her expression was unreadable, but she was measuring him, deciding if he was a man who'd treat her as property or a person. "You got other family?" he asked her directly. "No, senor. Just my uncle. My parents died 3 years ago." Her words hit hard. An orphan, like he'd been. No one to protect her. "You understand what's being proposed?" Dalton said. "Your uncle's signing you over to a stranger. I could be worse than those men." Her eyes flickered. Are you worse, senor? The question caught him off guard. She was interviewing him. That's for you to decide. Then let me ask you something, Esperanza said. Do you have children? His jaw tightened, the old ache resurfacing. No. Because you chose not to, or because you cannot? Murphy shifted. Girl, that ain't your business. Dalton raised a hand. Because I cannot. My wife and I tried for years before she died. Esperanza nodded, as if confirming something. Then you know what it's like to want something you can't have, to feel your life has no purpose. Her words cut deep. Since Martha's death 5 years ago, Dalton had been surviving, not living. The ranch was work, not joy. What's your point? Maybe we both need something different than we planned, she said. You need help with your ranch. I need protection. This could benefit us both. Joaquin looked hopeful, surprised by her confidence. Dalton was intrigued. You ever worked a ranch? Yes, senor. My family raised goats, chickens. I know milking, tending animals, cooking, cleaning. I read and write in Spanish and English. And you're willing to work for a stranger? She paused. I'm willing to work for someone who treats me with respect, who sees me as a person, not property. There it was, the real negotiation. She wanted dignity, and she'd sensed he might offer it. What happens when you turn 18? Dalton asked. You'll be free to leave, find a husband, start your life. True, she said. But until then, you'd have helped to make your ranch profitable, and I'd have time to learn this country, decide what life I want. Murphy cleared his throat. Keane, you playing or not? Dalton pulled $300 from his wallet, his cattle money, and placed it before Joaquin. I'm not taking your niece. But I'll pay your debt. She can work for me, earn her keep, and leave when she's ready. No strings. Joaquin's tears fell. Senor, I can't repay this kindness. I'm not doing it for you, Dalton said. No person should be livestock. To Esperanza, he added, you understand the deal. Work, food, shelter. You leave when you want. She tore the deed in half. I understand, senor. I accept. Murphy shuffled the cards. Strangest poker game I ever saw. You paid $300 for a hired hand you could have had free. Maybe, Dalton said, standing. But now we both know where we stand. Outside, the night was crisp. Joaquin prepared to flee town before dawn, when his creditors would arrive. He embraced Esperanza. Mija, you're braver than me. Make a good life. I will, uncle. Stay safe. Dalton watched, feeling the weight of their goodbye. At the ranch, he showed Esperanza the spare room, once meant for children he'd never have. It's not fancy, but it's got a bed. She set down her bag. Senor, I'm grateful, but I owe you nothing beyond honest work. I've seen what happens to girls when men think they're owed more. I'm not that kind of man, Dalton said, heat rising in his face. I believe you, she said. But I needed to say it. He nodded. Breakfast's at sunrise. I can cook if you need time. I'll cook, she said. What do you eat? Beans, bacon, bread when I bake it. She wrinkled her nose. That's no diet for a working man. I'll make something proper. By morning, the smell of fresh bread filled the house, a warmth Dalton hadn't felt since Martha. Esperanza had risen early, preparing eggs and coffee better than his own. You didn't have to get up this early, he said. I always do, she replied. It's the best time to think. She gestured outside. You have good land, water, but you're not using it well. Why only cattle? Cattle's what I know. Cattle die in drought. Chickens lay eggs, goats eat weeds, gardens feed you when money's tight. Her observations were sharp, her knowledge deep. But something in her tone, a flicker, hinted at secrets. After breakfast, she toured the ranch, asking about water, soil, weather. Her suggestions were practical: vegetables here, chickens there. "We can make this place thrive," she said, "if you're willing to try." "We?" Dalton asked, struck by the word. "Why do you care?" he pressed. "You could work in town, marry, start a family. Why fix my ranch?" Her eyes darkened. "My parents were killed, senor, by men who wanted our land. A fire, made to look like an accident. I was away, or I'd be dead too." Dalton's chest tightened. "Your uncle tried to fight for justice, but we had no money. He gambled to hire lawyers, lost everything. Now he understood her steel. She wasn't just hiding from debt collectors, she was a survivor, determined to never be powerless again." "You're here to build something untouchable," he said. "Partly," she admitted. "But I see you've given up too, not because you can't build, but because you're afraid to lose again." Her words stung. "Maybe I have reason to be." "Maybe," she said. "But fear's no reason to waste a life." 3 weeks later, the ranch was transforming. Fences mended, a garden planted, chickens clucking. Esperanza's energy was contagious, her presence filling the house with life. But that afternoon, Sheriff Tom Bradley rode up, his face grim. "Men in town asking about a Mexican girl," he said. "Well-dressed, well-armed. Interested in poker winnings." Dalton glanced at Esperanza, who'd gone still. "What kind of men?" "Not just debt collectors," Bradley said. "They've got federal warrants for murder. A fire in Texas, a Mexican family killed, land stolen. They think the girl's a witness." Esperanza's face paled. "They're looking for me," she said. "The men who killed my parents." Bradley nodded. "Federal marshals want you to testify in Texas. But those men want you silenced." Dalton looked at her. "Your choice, Esperanza. I'll support you." She closed her eyes, then opened them with resolve. "My parents deserve justice. Tell the marshals I'll testify." As Bradley rode away, Dalton knew their peace was over. The men who'd killed her parents were coming, and they'd stop at nothing to keep her from that courthouse.